Hello and welcome to the recording on how to blur your background if you missed it in Monday's practice. Here I am with my photo that I've opened up. It's still one layer in the background, and I want you to notice that I did a little bit of work in my history here with clone stamping. This is what it originally looked like. It had this stuff up here, it had some wrinkles, and it had this blanket down at the bottom. And with the use of the clone stamp tool, I got rid of some of that stuff to prepare it to be blurred. All right, let's go on over here to your background layer. And first things first, unlock it by clicking on the little lock tool. Next, right-click your background layer and duplicate layer. You can name it. I am going to name it blurry because this is going to be my blurry layer. And now that you have your blurry layer selected, you can go on up to Filter, Blur, Surface Blur. Try out some different stuff with your radius and threshold. So far, as I've tried it, I like my radius between 30 and 60, and I like my threshold at least 150 to get it nice and blurry. I'm going to click OK. And it should take just a second to get that blur going. Okay, it's almost done now, so I've got my blurry layer on top here, which means it's the only thing I can see, but if you click your eyeball, you can see that crisp, clear layer underneath. Okay, I want to take my blurry layer and pull it underneath my crisp, clean layer. And I want to make my blurry layer invisible, not visible, by clicking the eyeball. Alright, my next step is to actually remove the background from this image, so there's a few ways you can do it. You can try your quick selection tool, click and drag to select, and if you accidentally select too much, hold the Alt button. That's the Alt button. See how it changes from a plus to a minus? Here we go, minus. And that removes it from your quick selection. Okay, so you can do something like that for your whole background. I've let go of Alt now, and I click, and I click, and I click and drag. It did too much. So you can go back and forth, and then once this is all done and selected, you go backspace. If you are having troubles with that quick selection tool, you can also always use the eraser tool, and it won't crash your computer quite as much, okay? You need to zoom in to do the last little bits of erasing. And as you can see, I've got a bit of a soft-edged brush. Okay. Over here, the soft-edged brush is nice with hair. Makes it look a little more believable. Okay. And down here, I'm just going to skip over that part because I don't want to make you suffer through listening to it. So we have an invisible background here, and now when I make my blurry layer visible, suddenly, oh my goodness, I have my clean, clear person right here, and then I have my blurry layer right here. Alrighty. That is about it for making your image blurry. You should have a couple layers. So now from here, remember to File, Save As, and save it as a Photoshop file or a PSD. Don't save it as a JPEG because you don't want to accidentally make it unwritable. Alright, that's it. Happy blurring!